All right. Let me refresh a little bit. Okay. Fresh. Where are we? Should see live soon. There we are. Awesome. Oh, cool. Awesome. There we are. Radical. So cool. Okay, so I got chat here. Hopefully people start coming in soon. That'd be awesome. Got one person. Okay, cool. So, um, yeah. Uh, yes, you know what? That's a really good idea. Let's do that. Keep that up for now. You can mute us for now, right? While that's there. Yeah, just mute us for now while we're there. I'll cut this off later. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, we can go with the audio. Cool. Yeah. We good? Awesome, cool. I was just really quiet there for a second. Yeah, hi. Hi, I'm Gary Tremarky, the writer and creator of Starstruck, and we're gonna be doing a live stream today, a little draw art stream with some of the crew who's worked on Starstruck. Um, I'm gonna give you guys some introductions in just a second. The first thing I want to do is just throw out a couple thank yous. Um, and yeah, we'll go from there. So first of all, just want to thank Ahmad, Venge Dog, for hosting this stream and doing the amazing Indiegogo art you've been seeing, as well as some of the earliest concept art for Starstruck. Without him, this wouldn't be happening today, or at all, for that matter. So thank you, Ahmad. I want to thank Stuart Pontefel No Pockets for doing some of the header art and the Indiegogo art. He's done incredible stuff for us. I want to also thank Jess Torres for doing a lot of the concept art. Um, I want to thank Awestruck Vox for putting promoing us in one of his last Steven Universe vids. Thank you so much, Kev. Thanks Salty DK Dan for retweets, Pan Pizza for retweets, as well as Nesca, Curious Nesca for retweets. They've gotten us to a wider audience. I want to thank producers Dom Farah and Michael for helping us out. And yeah, just want to also thank all the cast and crew for retweeting us and doing awesome art and getting the word out. Truly appreciate it, guys. All right. So let's do introductions. Who would like to go first? Would anybody like to go first and tell us a little bit about themselves? Okay. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Who would like to go next, or should I pick?
I can go second. Oh,
Oh, cool.
Okay, go for it.
If you want to go first.
yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is G. I am the board artist crew of Starstruck. I'm excited to draw with you guys today.
Okay, cool. Really quick thing. Apparently, they can only hear me, Ahmad. Is that are you guys are you reading on the OBS, Ahmad? Okay, fix it. Cool, perfect. All right, awesome. So let's try maybe the introductions again, just in case. Cool. All right, Ahmad is the only one muted. Okay, never mind. Cool, gotcha. So you were muted. Ahmad, we'll circle back to you. Cool. All right. All right. Cool. Vivi, would you like to go?
I'm Vivi. Vivi is me. I do animation, storyboards. I also like not for Starstruck, but I also do costume fabrication. And that's pretty cool. I like that. But for Starstruck specifically, I did some character concepts for later on, and then I also did boards. And so I really enjoy doing that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, hopefully one day we get some Starstruck costumes as well. So that'd be
Yes.
really cool. um, all right. So we're gonna circle back to Ahmad, who got cut off before, but please reintroduce yourself, Ahmad. Okay, cool. Still nothing from him. Okay. I can introduce. I can introduce Ahmad for the time being. No worries, no worries. So Ahmad is also known as Avenge Dog on all social media. He does some incredible art. He's also working on his own Kickstarter, which we've cross promoted several times. Um, and yeah, it's called Devil Chaser. It's a great new game coming out. Nice PS1 throwback.
Here I am.
Really exciting as well. He has done some absolutely incredible art for Starstruck as well, and he's hosting the stream. So once again, thank you,
Of course.
Ahmad.
Starstruck is cool.
Cool. Yeah. So, we can start going to the art now. We can change up this little image here. We can start going to the draw pile.
Let's go.
Nice. So basically, I'll just ask you guys some questions, and okay, now I think we can hear
Yeah,
a
I figured it out. Sorry.
Thank you, Funky
I
Space
think
Alien. I
Windows
appreciate
updating
it.
screwed up my settings a little bit.
Awesome.
Too thick of a lie.
Yeah. Let's jump to the art stream, and I'll just start asking you guys questions. Yeah, I mean, let's start with G. G, why don't you tell us a little bit about, your background and kind of like what you've worked on, like what inspires you and stuff like that. I'd like to just hear a bit about your art and everything.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I came from an animation background. You might know me from the shows like Gentry, Child versus the Underworld, or Dang season 1 and season 2 if you're keeping up with it, and Boondocks and other most likely action adventure comedy show. And yeah, and that's why I joined the Starstruck because it's gotta be all about those actions and fun moments, our farming moments.
Nice, awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like some art or shows or stuff like that that's inspired you along the way, basically gotten your own style, kind of like stuff that's informed your style.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually came from the Korean background, so my drawing style is very heavily influenced by East Asian shows like animes, I think is the most popular one these days.
Mhm.
The biggest influence is definitely one of those big artists like Yo Yoshinari or Kai Ikarashi. And for people who's not used to these kind of people's name, because it's very long names, Japanese names, you these are from Promare or Kill la Kill, or actually they're the one who made Fully Kili as well.
Mhm.
So those kind of very old anime people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, I think that's like some stuff we're really looking forward to incorporating in Starstruck, because there is kind of a fun action element to it on top of all the comedy too. There's a couple of really cool, fun scenes that could definitely use that style, and we're definitely excited to incorporate that into it. Um, cool. We'll come back to you in a second, G. Let's go over to Vivi. Let's talk to Vivi for a second. Vivi, how did you get your start in art? And, what is some stuff that's inspired you?
I mean, like everybody, I feel like we've all kind of been drawing. When you're a kid, you draw a lot, and you don't realize till you're older, like, hey, I can actually do this as a job. And so, pursued animation, and also a big thing I do was like costume fabrication. I like cosplay a lot, so I kind of got this passion for like character design because of cosplay. If that makes
Mhm.
any sense. I've been
No,
cosplaying
it totally makes sense.
since middle school. Although, so for a long time, I'm not gonna say, but for a long time, and that was like my first like real passion into the arts. But like the reason I was doing that was because I never thought that I would be able to like pursue animation, but I was able to like, oh, I can do this. Like this is a thing I can do. But in terms of like working, mostly working on indie stuff. Obviously Starstruck, which I have enjoyed, and then working on like my own pilots and stuff, trying to figure out like, just for fun. But recently just worked on a small indie project that wrapped up, and I don't know if they've posted it yet, uh,
Mm.
but truthfully, in terms of art style, things that shows that like shaped my, I guess, style. Older shows. I really enjoy watching a lot of older shows from like the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, like Kim Possible, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Powerpuff Girls, like all those art styles. I just find to be very like they shaped my like personal art style.
Yeah, no, totally. I love you mentioned Kim Possible. Like, I love the Steven Silver art design on that show specifically, and I feel like that show in particular was like one of the first ones where I was just like, whoa, like these kind of these kind of Disney shows can have like a little punch to them, a little kick to them. You know, they don't all have to be, you know, I wouldn't say super sanitized or whatever, but like I remember that was like the one where it was like, whoa, Disney shows are really cool, like action wise. So I always like that one. And I just love Steven Silver's art too. So like I really relate to that. I actually met him a couple weeks ago at convention. So he was really cool. But yeah, no, totally, totally. And I hear what you're saying when you're coming from like the cosplay angle, because I feel like trying to fabricate that stuff in real life is its own artistic endeavor. So it's really fun to kind of see what that would look like in real life. So I think that's definitely like a really cool angle to come at it from.
Yeah, and it also like having a costume background also keeps in mind like if I design a character with this crazy of an outfit, is this actually possible?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Like,
No, totally. And most times the answer is yes. So
I mean,
like
yeah.
I feel like with the right ingenuity you can get to what you want. So like I think it's always really cool to see people bring that stuff to life.
Well, thank you. I'm excited
Yeah.
to see all the stuff with the show coming to life. I know you've been working on it for so long.
Yeah, no, I know. It's been a journey, and I'm glad we are where we are right now, and I'm really excited to make something cool. So yeah. Just a really quick reminder to anyone that's here. We have a link right in the corner of the stream. You can go there and back us. All backing helps. It doesn't matter if you can't donate like a ton of money. Anything helps. There's a custom donation, so if you can donate like less than our first tier, that's totally fine. Whatever you can donate helps a lot. But yeah, with that said, let's go over to Ahmad. Ahmad, why don't you tell me a bit about kind of like how you got into art and kind of how you know, what your influences are.
When I was a kid, I almost went to law school, and I was not interested in art at all, actually. And then until I was like 16, and I got like a Nintendo DS, and they had this program on it called Flipnote Hatena, and it let you like animate stuff and like draw. You could draw stuff. It was like sub MS Paint level, but you also could animate with it. And I got like really, for whatever reason, actually I know why. It's because this was a summer where we were stuck at a hotel because our house got flooded by a burst pipe. So they were like, you're gonna stay here while we fix your house. And I was like, well, I got nothing better to do, so I just started doodling and drawing and on my DS, and then I just kind of got like, yeah, you know what, this is cool, this is kind of neat. And then I think at the same time Adventure Time had just started, so I was like, oh, this guy kind of draws like scribbly, I can do that. And then then I was just like, I want to make cartoons. And then I went to school to learn how to draw, and then that's pretty much it. Now I just kind of do a little bit of everything now, I guess.
Yeah. And Ahmad, you went to SCAD, correct?
Yes,
Savannah College of Art and Design. Yes,
yeah,
nice.
The Atlanta campus.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, my biggest inspirations are just like mostly just comic books, I guess. I like European stuff a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Any specific European pulls that you want to name here?
Louis Trondheim is like one of my favorites. He made Dungeon, and he also made Kaput and Zosky, for people who remember that show that aired for like 3 seconds. And yeah, that's about it.
Nice. Yeah, cool. Let's I'll tell you a bit about myself as well. I just wanted the artists to go first. But yeah, my name is Gary. I wrote Starstruck. I started writing when I was pretty young, probably like, I mean, I've been writing stuff since like I was really young, but I taking it seriously probably since like 6th or 7th grade. Why the audio strange? I will I'll address that in 1 second because I think people can hear me fine, but let me finish what I'm saying. We'll address that. Yeah, so anyway, I started in 6th or 7th grade. I really started like writing a lot of stuff down in notebooks and like keeping track of plots and stuff like that. And then I started screenwriting when I was in high school. I started taking a class for that. Everyone's got different mic quality. Perfect. Cool. Okay. So I got serious about it in high school. Started taking classes for it. And that's when I started to kind of see my influences coming out. I got into a lot of John Hughes movies, Kevin Smith movies, and a lot of my earlier stuff, and even my modern stuff is really chatty and kind of slice of life and down to earth. But all during that time, I was still like watching a lot of cartoons. So like I was definitely watching Teen Titans every week. I was watching Samurai Jack. I was watching just all of the kind of action Cartoon Network stuff that was going on at the time, and I was kind of like it was always sitting in the back of my head, but I was like, I don't think I could ever write something like that. But then I went to college at NYU and I started kind of focusing on writing for children's television, and my stuff kind of stayed the same. It was very much like still chatty, still very slice of lifey. But then I think the thing I surprisingly that kind of like broke me into the like whole sci-fi thing and wanted to get me writing was the Disney TVA kind of stuff that's been going on right now. So Gravity Falls and then Amphibia, like those doing really well, kind of like pushed me to be like, oh, I don't know what it was about them specifically, but I think they just had such a fun like entry level like kind of like way to get into writing for uh like sci-fi and fantasy concepts because they kept their characters grounded. They weren't kind of like these crazy hero archetypes. They were kind of just normal people in like isekai worlds. So it's like, oh, this is fun. And I know isekais existed long before that, but I don't know, something about these shows just kind of like got my like writing senses tingling. And yeah, I just wrote Starstruck kind of just based on that kind of like Disney TVA format and with my own kind of millennial like woes, kind of like anxiety about working and everything like that, and I mixed those two things together, and that's how I came up with Starstruck. Yeah, so that's where I am now, and that's kind of where I'm coming from as far as my influences and everything. But yeah, let me see. I guess like because you guys have all read the script, let me go to you guys about the script. G, who would you say your favorite character in Starstruck is?
Right now, I feel like I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but Ziki is my favorite.
Oh, Ziki? Oh, Ziki's the punk girl. Yeah, Ziki. Yes, absolutely.
Cause okay, it's a really shallow reason. She's emo punk and she's in a suit and she can throw some attitude when she wants.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just have a crush on her. She's just such a cool character.
That's okay. No,
Yeah.
valid. It's valid.
Yeah, I just have a mega crush on her. She's so cool, and I actually can't wait to listen to her music if there's gonna be one. Is she gonna have her theme song or something?
Oh yeah, totally. We can go into that a little bit. Our music is being composed by Michael Drew, who is we've been talking about like themes for everybody and everything, and I think the one we've been talking about the most is Azriel because we want to get kind of like the reference points down for his music down, but specifically for Ziki, like I know we've talked obviously a lot about like punk rock, obviously like a lot of throwback stuff like X-Ray Specs and bands like punk bands from that era, the Runaways obviously a big influence, and then who else was in there? The Chrissy Hind before the Pretenders. I mean, even the Pretenders, I would say, are a pretty big influence too. But then, like, I was also throwing in stuff like Hole, like grunge and alt rock, and then Riot Girl stuff like Sleater Kinney is cool too. So like, me and Michael have been kind of talking about like how we can kind of formulate all of these influences into like themes for the characters and everything. So when we start our process and once this Indiegogo runs through, it's going to be fun kind of like digging to the core for everybody's musical identity and their motifs and their themes. And yeah, Ziki's really cool. I don't want to give it away, but there's a scene in the pilot between Harper and Ziki that kind of like really speaks to their musical kind of like preferences and like uses that in a really cool plot way. So we'll get there when we get there. Once again, I don't want to spoil anything quite yet. But yeah. Cool. Awesome. Good answer. Um Vivi, who is your favorite character in Starstruck?
Oh, that's a really tough question because honestly, I love so many of the. Would it be biased?
To say Chrysalid?
Most
It's okay. No, Chrysalid's a valid answer. It's not biased, it's valid.
I am such a fangirl when it comes to my fandoms. I mean, like, I cosplay. The reason I got into animation is because of, like, my fandom culture, right? So,
Sure.
like, granted, Chrysalid is a little unhinged at times. But she's so, like, it's just, like, she hasn't gotten to the point where it's horribly bad, but, like, obviously do not repeat her behavior, but it's, like, looking back at yourself at like when you were a young kid with like your whether it's like your nerdy anime side or like your like bands that you liked, you had a little bit of obsession, you had your specific interests, right, your hyperfixations
Sure.
at that moment, if you will.
Yeah.
So I feel like she channels like the nerd in all of us a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
She's extreme sometimes, but she's just such a funny character. I also really, obviously, I love Harper. Like, she's just a sweetie pie, and I also really relate to the like apathetic part of Court.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that you bring up like the whole fangirl kind of like, like a hyperfixation culture, because I feel like it's something that's so much more on display now with kind of, social media, and like that you can have your own dedicated account to your fandoms, basically. Like well, obviously you can make your main account that, but so many of them are like, here's my fandom account. Like, this is where I post specific like art and pictures of everything and just like my theories on the shows or books or whatever I'm watching or listening to. And I feel like it's become such a part of like the music culture specifically that's like in Starstruck, and having her kind of be, the way we described her on Indiegogo was like, she's mostly harmless, meaning that she can have a little bit of a bad streak sometimes. Kind of this on and off again type character that's like sometimes she'll help, sometimes she'll be the worst nuisance possible. I think that's going to be really fun to kind of explore, because I feel like that's how maybe some, creators feel about the fans, where it's just like, oh my god, like they're helping me so much and they're building up so much like hype for my thing, but then like just something will go terribly wrong in the fandom because of like a specific like problematic person or something. And I feel like Chrysalid is like the specific kind of like maybe the romanticized version of that, where it's just like it's goofy and silly and sci-fi, but I feel like in any other situation it could get like serious and kind of unhinged for sure. But no, yeah, Chrysalid is a totally valid answer. I love her, and I feel like it's so funny that she started out as kind of like when I initially wrote the script, like she was kind of like a fangirl character, and we expanded her, and like I was like, no, that's got to be something. Like, we got to push that. We got to make that funnier and sillier, and she's got to be a recurring character, because if she's a fangirl, she's at every Asriel thing. Like, doesn't matter where, she's gonna get a ride there. And I just love the idea of that she is omnipresent. And Asriel just wants like nothing to do with her. She's just like, I can't even, and therefore she kind of gets pushed off on Harper and Court for sure. Like
the annoying little cousin that shows up and like won't leave your room like at a family function. You're like, can you please just leave?
Yes, exactly.
It's like they're at a different level in their life.
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
Ahmad. But also, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead. Don't finish what you're saying, Vivi. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Love you, but also I need my space.
Exactly. Ahmad, do you have a favorite character in Starstruck?
Yeah, Asriel.
Asriel. Nice.
I just think he's hot, but also he's the most fun to draw.
I don't blame you. That was the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like drawing him. I like the idea of like this like 80s space pop star. I just love like that aesthetic in general, the Captain ELO thing. So yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, too. And I feel like we took a little bit from like a little bit of influence from Harlock. Because Ahmad, you were there early on, and we can speak to this. I think Harlock was like definitely one of the influences, and we talked a little bit about like some synth pop people. Obviously, David Bowie, like massive influence too. But like I remember writing him and being like, oh, I want him to be like. I feel like the easiest thing would have been just to be straight up copy David Bowie, but then I was just like, well, there's so many of those already. I feel like there's just tons of characters that take that kind of persona. Like I think of like Regular Show and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Like put a unique spin on it. So I started incorporating a lot of synth pop people, a lot of shoegaze people, some indie rock people. So it's kind of like this all-encompassing rock thing. It kind of goes through all the decades of like pop rock. Even like a little Beatles with the outfit too. He's kind of got like a little Sgt. Pepper's to his outfit as well. Sure. But no, I wanted to create a character that was definitely like a foil to everyone, where he is kind of like the kind of snooty rock star, but there's something a little deeper there as far as like, because he's really good. Like that's the thing. Like I feel like the easiest thing to do would have been like to make him kind of like a sellout, boring pop star, and like his songs stink. But like no, he's good. Like that was like the whole angle where it's just like. He's kind of a jerk, but his songs are really good. Because that's how I feel. Like, that's how growing up, like, I would watch interviews with certain musicians, and I'd be like, oh, they seem really pretentious, but damn, their music's really good. Yeah, like, they kind of back it up. And I was like, yeah, he's like that. So he's got, like, a whole history, too, where, like, he started off as kind of, like, very young pop star. Like 13, 14, that's when he started kind of getting like his first exposure. Yeah. He has a friend that I don't want to introduce yet. Yeah. What'd you say, Matt?
Like a Justin Timberlake kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was, I was kind of playing around with that, like a little, for lack of better person, like Justin Bieber too. Started off like that kind of young, where like he had that kind of embarrassing pop song that he made, and he's like, oh my god, I wanted to go away, so I'm gonna make all this other music and show how talented I am. You think of a lot of boy bands. I feel like Harry Styles has kind of become like that too, where it's like the dude is like so past the One Direction stuff, and Justin Timberlake, like you mentioned, but like, and he just wants to get into this rock vibe. He very much wants to keep reinventing himself. I feel like that's the struggle of all kind of like rock musicians and pop musicians, where it's just like, how do I stay on the cutting edge? How do I keep pushing forward? One of the people that really influenced Asriel, that's maybe not as quite as apparent, but like Thomas Dolby, who had a one-hit wonder with She Blinded Me with Science in the 80s. And then from there, put out an album that kind of sounded like that, but then every next album was a consistent reinvention, and he kind of fell off the charts because of that. But I always admired that, because it was just like he did not want to settle for sounding the same. And he kept pushing himself, and I really liked that. I thought that was really cool. Pont says Ferrari is his best song. Yes, it's a pretty great song. Yes, that's that. Thank you, Pont. Fell no pockets. Thank you, Stuart. It's more Stuart. It should say Stuart. But yeah, no, I just wanted him to kind of be this all-encompassing kind of like I am everything at the same time kind of rock star. So me and Michael are really looking forward to working on his music, and we've been throwing about a bunch of bands that he's going to sound like. So really excited to get there when we get there. Yeah, and I guess I'll do my favorite character. That's really tough. I really like Court. I think kind of writing, I mean, obviously Harper is very much like runs parallel to a lot of the things that I did when I was kind of doing PA work a while back for film and television, where it was just like I felt like I was constantly trying to build, like, I feel like I romanticized like this end goal in my head, that if I kept working hard and I kept doing well, I would get to be somewhere like larger than I was. And I feel like that kind of like got ingrained into Harper, where it's just like everything I do has purpose, like getting this coffee has purpose. And there's kind of just a like a definitely a big what's the word I'm looking for? Definitely like a big like just like dreamer vibe to her. Like where it's just like everything I do is important and like every step of the process is important and she, like her spirit never dies. So that's ingrained into Harper for me for sure. So I like that about her. But Court, as I've written her and kind of like planned out different things for her, I feel like I've just liked her story a lot. And once again, I can't give away too much quite yet, but she's a lot of fun. I think Shannon's performance of her really brought out exactly what I was looking for, kind of just that apathetic kind of like I'm so over this kind of thing. And I think she knows she's really talented and she's just doing this as a job. And I feel like she's frustrated by the fact that she has all these amazing talents, but like she still feels kind of stuck here. She still feels like in the state of arrested development, which I feel like is run so parallel of Harper, where like Harper has all this, like they both have all this potential, and Harper sees like her potential as like, you know, a ladder she's climbing, and Court just feels stalled. And I feel like they make kind of good foils to each other in that way. And you know, despite having very different outlooks on life, they kind of come together in the middle for this music and like this like kind of like a stage presentation stuff. They just both love it, and that's why they're such good friends in the show. And yeah, I don't know. Both of those characters are really important, but Court really grew on me kind of in the process of doing everything. I'm totally down right now if you guys want, if anybody in the chat wants to throw out a question, I'm down to answer it. While I think of some new topics for us to talk about. But yeah. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is a fundraising art stream for Starstruck. It is a cartoon an animatic pilot that we're doing. It's a sci-fi comedy 11. Oh my gosh, let me start that over. This is an art stream for Starstruck, an animatic sci-fi comedy pilot that we're doing. You can find more information in the link on the page. You can see right there. It's on Indiegogo, igg.me/@/Starstruck. You can find more information there. We are currently at 38%. We had a big donation today. Was very, very, very happy with that. Once we get to 40%, I believe Indiegogo starts pushing us. So if we can get over that hump, that would be amazing. We're only... Let me check. How close are we to being at 40%? Because I don't think it's much more. We need less than $400. About $300 to get to 40%. So if you guys can get us there, that would be a good goal to have for today. Because then Indiegogo starts kind of putting us in a projects we love kind of thing. So yeah, if you guys can push us up to that, that would be amazing. So I'll read a couple comments, actually. I like Court because I'm not immune to hair bearing covering one eye propaganda. That's fair. I like that design, too. Ahmad, did you come up with that? I think that was your thing, right?
Yes, I believe so. I remember originally Court was going to be a guy, and then at one point we were like, maybe it'd be better if, you know, Court had like a female friend. So then, yeah, I just went with that. I think it's funny because I didn't have to...
Yeah, that was early on.
Yeah,
that was early on.
Didn't change that much as a result.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. What else do I got here? Mine's Zicky because she's punk and I love punk. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love punk? I think that's definitely, I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to kind of like embrace that kind of just like wild punk look. And there's something, I mentioned this in her bio video, but there's something going on with her hair. So if you notice her hair, there's a crack in her head. And this was something that Jess or Jaludo and I kind of came up with, where Jess kind of drew her and she was like, does she emote with her hair? And so like when she's kind of unhinged, her hair spikes up. And when she's kind of neutral, like it's all blobby and kind of like you know, chill. So we came up with a reason for that, which once again I don't want to reveal what it is, but it has to do with kind of that crack in her head and everything. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can say here. Ahmad, let me see if there's something I had a question for you. Like early on, because you were the first person to actually draw Starstruck characters, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I want to say yes.
Yes, I believe you were, because you drew the first Harper. I know for a fact you drew the first Harper.
I know I did, yeah.
Yes. And we've been doing that for a while. How, like, kind of looking over, and you also did all the wonderful Polaroids on the Indiegogo page, which are perfect for each character.
Thanks.
I love what I did. What I love what you did with the Azrael one, where it's not necessarily a Polaroid of him, but it's Harper taking a selfie with a poster of him, which feels like so on brand, very no pictures kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know Vivi kind of did something like that too early on for one of the pictures of him when we did our pitch deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was one of the concept ones.
Yeah,
I don't think
total.
we finished that one though. I think it was just like we ended up, can't remember. It's been a little while.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I it's been interesting to see, like, I remember Ahmad was the one who recommended Jess. If I'm you recommended Jess, right?
I was like, you want like that space age vibe? She's perfect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that was like those early days of kind of like designing the characters and everything, and like even now kind of seeing like some of Ahmad's like different takes on everything has been really cool. There's a white-haired Harper variant that I've been posting around everywhere and now and then. Also, I guess this would be a fun time to announce this. If you buy $75 tier and up, you get a keychain or all 4 keychains. There is a one-off white-haired Harper that we're going to be doing. I will post about it later today. And yeah, that's going to be included in one of the packs if you want to get that. You'll also get like a little kind of notification of what it is and why it's special, because it is going to be a one-of-a-kind kind of thing. So yeah. Is Whitehair Harper like blue? Is Whitehair Harper like the blue shirt Bart of Starstruck?
I guess
that grading goes
first. So technically not, but also yes.
Yeah, totally. There might be a little. Once again, I'm teasing here a little. There might be a little story explanation for white-haired Harper. It's something Ahmad came up with holistically, but when I looked at it, I'm like, there might be a story reason for that. So yeah, no, it is a wonderful it's a wonderful result of collaborative process. So yeah, that is a purely a mod thing that I would later on I was just like, story thing. So yeah. If you guys want to give us $75 and up, you will get a chance to win a white-haired Harper keychain. One of a kind. Yes. Let me go back to Vivi. Vivi did the original boards or the test boards for the conversation piece that we had between Harper and Court. Vivi, what was it like working on those boards, and how did you approach them?
Well, I kind of approached them from like the idea of having just like a normal conversation at your dead end job. Like, of course, annoyance, but like also, I would say Harper's disillusion with the fact that she thinks that she's just going to be able to jump the ladder so quickly.
Yeah.
And so, in regards to like expressions and stuff, we have Court being a little bit more exasperated, and just like also like that scene when they first come in after they've crashed into like the like side of the venue.
Yeah.
Just kind of like also showing like they just crashed into this venue and yet they do not care. Like Court is so like apathetic and just like, okay, great, like this is where I'm at. And then Harper immediately is like, we gotta get this coffee, like we gotta go. But also being distracted, I was like, what would be like as a fan, like getting distracted by like cool merch or like, so I was like, oh, let's put a poster on the wall. So she's like kind of like drooling over this poster, which I thought was funny. Not because like necessarily she thinks like Azrael's super hot, but like because she's just so in love with his music and him as a person. But it's like also showing that side of Azrael that like the audience sees, but then like I'm not gonna give away like the script, but in regards to like the side that would immediately contrast that later on, If that makes
Mhm.
any sense. So those were like kind of the approaches I took to that. Like the super glamorous guy, and then what we were about to see in 10 seconds.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're all
it's so funny, kind of you bringing up like the fact that they're not even concerned that they crashed into like the venue or whatever, and that's kind of like the atmosphere I wanted to set up, where it's just like, yeah, there are consequences to certain things, people can get hurt, yada yada yada, but like so much of it is sci-fi silliness, and it's just like, yeah, totally normal way to enter the venue is crashing into the venue. Like I just like that atmosphere and the fact that you kind of grasp onto that right away of them just being like, haha, we're okay, and now we're getting to the coffee to Azrael, and like this is totally normal. Um like even before that, and not even necessarily spoiler, but there's a little bit where Court is just like, Harper, I think you should watch where you're going. But it's so they delivered so dryly, and so like matter of fact of just like, yeah, this is normal, this happens, whatever. um I like that we picked up on that, and kind of just like having like all of the alien characters walking around the background, like this is just like a normal day for them. Like it is totally normal that somebody came crashing in, nobody's bothered by it at all. So I really dug that. I thought that was fun. And I just liked all of the kind of just little nuances you added to their actions was really cool. Like I like the eye rolls from Court. I like that you took a line that I know Dom had thrown in there about like the scarves or whatever, and you made it an entire visual gag.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Oh, thank you. That was actually,
Yeah.
yeah, that looking back, that one, that specific part, I was really like happy with as well. Because like, oh, like working with the script and finding like fun ways to incorporate like the scenery and what's going on in the background. Like that was, as you mentioned, I like, yeah, I totally like, not that I blanked on it, but I was like, oh yeah, that part was really cool too.
Yeah, totally. No, I love that. Like it's such a cool board. Like it's a really fun tone setter for kind of what we're gonna eventually do, and I think it's the perfect kind of like just like little preview of like what this could be. And I
Yeah.
can go into a little bit about that. You know,
Do you
and
mind?
why we chose to do like an animatic first, comparatively to doing like a full on kind of you know, animated piece. Um, well, first of all, animation is really time consuming, and it takes a lot of people to do. And you know, this isn't an animatic's no different in a way, but I felt like, you know, we wanted something attainable. I felt like we wanted something attainable that could show off how cool the show is without potentially burying us for like 3 years in like in work. And yeah, I don't know, an animatic with, you know, a crew that was gonna have hourly rates and everything just made sense to me. And yeah, like it just seemed better. And there have been a couple of animatics that have just done really well on YouTube that I just saw that were really striking. The first one was Becky Prim by Carl Hydreka. Apologies pronouncing his name. It's Carl Hydreka. I
think
Ahmad,
I
can you
got
pronounce
the second
Carl's last name so I don't sound like a jerk?
I think it's Carl Rodriguez, yeah.
Carl Hydreka. He did a board called Becky Prim, which was it's very hard to describe, but in the best way, where it's kind of like slice of life, kind of like, you know, outcast kids, but then there's also death involved, and life beyond death and ghosts and stuff, and it gets so weird and so out there that I was like, I cannot believe this exists, but I'm so happy it exists in board form right now. It's really cool. I would definitely check out Becky Prim if you haven't already. But then the other one, just the success I saw from it was just so overwhelming. Was that Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl board, and I was just like, this is so cool. And it was just from the board, and you know, she had totally gotten the characters across like perfectly. And like went exactly for the tone she wanted, and executed it like amazingly. And they had like a little animated bit in there, which was awesome. But I just thought that the fact that they were able to tell that entire pilot in just the boards and everybody like latched onto it was amazing. So those two were like really big influences on me. And then, you know, I was also these aren't animated. These are fully animated, but Long Gone Gulch was obviously like really big. Zach and Tara, like their ingenuity and their like work ethic is like incredible, and like I've been a big fan of that. And that whole short is incredible. I think for what they were able to make that on was like that looks professional and cool. So yeah, like that's kind of why we're approaching it as an animatic. And then before I go over to G for like another question, I just also want to say like we have a wonderful crew. We had some people that were supposed to be here today that are unfortunately are not here. We're hoping one of them shows up. Destiny, unfortunately, our board artist, Destiny DeJames, she's having a little bit of a blackout issue. And she cannot be here right now, but hopefully she pops in a little bit. If not, it's totally cool. But Destiny and then Ash Brannick was supposed to be here, but she's feeling a little under the weather, so she won't be with us today. But both of them are incredible. I'm really excited to work with them. We have a wonderful generalist, Verity Broad, and then we have Sophia, who's a background artist who's going to kill it. Sophia Alonzi, all of them are really great. I introduced Michael Drew before, but then our director, who also might pop in, we're not quite sure yet, but maybe we'll see, is Neil Graff. Neil has worked on stuff like Gravity Falls and King of the Hill and Unikitty and The Great North. So if you like any of that stuff, Neil's worked on it. He's an incredible director. He's got a lot of experience under his belt, and he is going to be able to really make this thing something really truly special, I think, getting everybody together. And let's go back over to our other board artist, G. G, without spoiling too much, is there any specific sequence in the pilot that you read and you're looking forward to boarding?
Definitely, especially what we talked about at when we're interviewing the beginnings, where no, sorry, not the beginning, the guitar.
Oh, the guitar, which I won't spoil here,
Oh,
but there is. Let's say there's a guitar battle. Let's just say there's a guitar battle. Yeah, yeah. There's a guitar battle at one point, and it's a really cool, fun thing we came up with, and G is gonna knock it out in the park of that. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, I know, G, that you had said that you're a bit of a musician, correct, G?
Musician, if you means like singing in karaoke, yes. I wish I could say more, but well, okay, all right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, G. I apologize.
No. So what's the definition of musician?
G, it's okay. I would consider a singer a musician. You're totally fine.
Thank you. Yes, I love those. I love those guys. And I did play guitar when I was really young. It's just not as good anymore.
That's okay.
Yeah, what was this leading to put you on the
I was just kind of talking about like kind of maybe you were putting a little bit of your own kind of like musical fantasy into that scene. You were kind of like going, yeah, you were maybe like, is there anything kind of that you really want to see out of that scene pretty much? Like that kind of gets yeah.
Okay. I think unfortunately when it comes to personal experience, I don't have much to offer. However, I am a big fan of when musical, like movies especially, like live action movies are trying to put musical battle scenes in there, and because they can just pop in so many visual left and right where cameras are showing how instruments are working and how characters around them are reacting to it. It's just so much fun. It has so much energy, you know? And yes, this is a cartoon show, but what I want to believe is cartoon and reality, how things are shot in quote unquote realities, is not that different. And I've been collecting and watching more movies in the past, like 80s and 90s, that they did those things, and I'm very excited to bring those to the like a screen.
Yeah, totally. I think we talked a little bit about FLCL and stuff like that when we had started talking, and kind of how that show used a lot of musical motifs and musical imagery to kind of convey even the action stuff. Like a lot of the stuff with the guitar, like Haruko and Naota with the guitars specifically, like they use that iconography and that imagery to kind of like push the vibe of the show. And I think Starstruck, it obviously has I guess obviously a closer link to actual kind of music and touring, and that kind of whole atmosphere. But I think the same thing kind of goes with me was when I was watching those FLCL scenes. I was like, oh man, like I wish they even did even more with the guitars. Like I love what they did and it's perfect, but I'm like, oh, I want to see more of that cool guitar imagery. And like I love the idea of music kind of being used as like a weapon. I don't know, that's really cool to me. Like I
Right.
always like that. I'm
I'm not sure. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please go
To
ahead.
add a little bit to FLCL, what's great is I could be completely wrong, so I'm not sure if I should be even saying this in a stream. But what I've heard is that they really liked pillows when they made this animation.
Oh yes,
So
yes.
when they were trying to come up with what's gonna represent the coolness of what you think is cool when you're growing up as a teenager, what would they be? And pillows were definitely on the list of it. So they basically build the animation to work around the music. And that's what I heard, which I think is amazing. And that's why I'm more and more excited to hear like the production, the music that the production is gonna come out, production is gonna come out, because that's, as you mentioned, Furikuri, what they did to like match how characters are pacing and how actions are pacing. They're matched to the music itself. So when we are listening with it, with the background music, we're really feeling that kind of sensation through our hearts. And I'm very excited to bring that with the Starstruck as well. And yeah, that's another thing that I'm very excited to bring up. So I'm glad that you mentioned FLCL. I'm keep mispronouncing. It's pretty cool because that's how it's called in Korea.
That's okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm going sideway a little too much, but I've heard the reason why they're using the guitar in that show is because they just asked one of the editors, like, "Hey, what's the coolest thing in the world?" And they just asked, "Oh, it's
Guitar.
Gibson 98, the model." He's like, "Okay," and they just used guitar. There was no other reason behind it, is what I heard.
61 Gibson SG. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, 61 Gibson SG. They're like, "Yeah, that's cool." He was like, "Oh, all right, I trust you," and that was it. That was their weapon for the rest of the show. So
Yeah, I think
yeah, sorry.
yeah. No, please, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think there is something enduringly cool about guitar imagery. Like I really do. Like there is rarely a sound that sounds as cool as like a guitar amp warming up or just like a solo or anything like that. And just the shape of it, like the look of it, the aesthetic is just like timelessly cool. Like, and it has endured for years, like decades and decades and decades. Probably even further back than that, even. But like, I don't know. Like, and I can only speak to what I grew up with, but like, I think watching obviously FLCL, and we've talked a bunch about that, but like the Bill and Ted movies were really big for me too, and kind of just how like everything about rock and roll is like really cool. Like I don't know, like I think it's really cool, and I feel like I am at an age now where I have experienced so many variations of it that like I kind of use songs as like mood pieces for when I'm writing and how characters interact, like it defines how characters interact and stuff like that. And it got to a point where I'm like, what if I just made something about all of the music that I listen to? Like it was an all-encompassing thing that uses music as the center of it, and that's kind of how Starstruck was born. Obviously, there's other big influences there too. Like I grew up reading the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books.
Ooh.
And those are really fun, really silly, completely absurdist. And I was like, oh, I love the idea of just like weirdo alien space crews that maybe have one human on board. Everyone else is a weird alien. And I definitely took like a big influence from that too, of just the absurdity of everything. That kind of goes back to when me and Vivi were talking about just like the very natural vibe of crashing into something and just being okay with it. This just happens and it's part of this world. But yeah, obviously Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There have been some music movies, like if we're talking purely on like the what was I gonna say? The kind of path Harper is on, like Almost Famous is a movie I really love. That was a big influence on this. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's about a young kid who goes on a tour with a band as a he's kind of like the press that goes with them. He's the interviewer. He's working for Rolling Stone, and he's like 15 or 16. And they put him on a band with a bus with a band, and he's kind of just following them, chronicling their lives and everything, and learning about their music and getting sucked into the rock atmosphere. So that was like a big, massive influence on this. I guess I can talk a little bit about like earlier drafts of this. But initially it was the plot was a little different, and I don't mind saying it on here. But initially Court was a human and Harper was still a human, obviously, and they were in a band on Earth, and they were just like kids, and they were trying to kind of get their music out there. They were playing like birthday parties and stuff like that. Nothing was really going well for them until they accidentally transmit their song into space, and then Azrael at that point, same kind of character, hears it, and he's like, whoa, hang on, that sounds like a song I made. So he like abducts them, and he's just like, hey, you guys stole my song, like, and either you can pay like a crazy fine that I'm gonna give you, or you can work for me and like work it off. So it's kind of like more of an alien abduction story that was like really absurdist. But then I was just like, well, that's funny, maybe a little too dark for this. But I kind of just like eventually toned it down to more of just like Harper really wants this. Like this is like a big thing for her, even though like this is her first time in space. She didn't really realize there were a ton of aliens in space, like making rock music, but she's so down with it. She's like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, of course, all the biggest rock stars would be in space. So I kind of made it more so that than Oh yeah, Stuart mentioned Josie and the Pussycats. Yes, Josie and the Pussycats was a big influence on this too. Absolutely, I should have said that first and foremost. I just saw that in theaters again for the first time in a while. So that was definitely a big influence too. Yeah. What else can we talk about? Does anybody have any specific questions? Still asking for questions. If you guys have anything, we are more than happy to answer. Please just keep questions appropriate, and we will definitely answer them. Do another quick plug. This is if you were just joining us, because I see people coming in and out, which is totally fine. We are doing an Indiegogo campaign for a new pilot sci-fi comedy animatic called Starstruck. It's about a girl from Earth who is the PA to an alien rock star and all the weird, wild sci-fi adventures they get up to on tour. If that sounds like your kind of thing, if you like Scott Pilgrim, we got the band culture of that. We've got the absurdity of regular show, and we have the sci-fi adventure of Final Space. So if you like any of those three shows, plus stuff like FLCL or Bill and Ted or Josie and the Pussycats, all of that is here, mixed into a wonderful, weird pilot animatic that I think you guys will love. Link is below igg.me/@/starstruck. Please donate. We definitely need the money. We have about 5 days left. It is a flexible fund, but the more money we get, the better we can make the show. And yeah, please donate if you can. Yeah, so we're gonna go for another maybe like half hour or so. But yeah, what else can we talk about?
Hey, I'm gonna be right back.
Okay, yes, Ahmad is leaving. Ahmad is bailing on us. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll be right back.
Let me think. You know what? We've talked a lot about the show. Let's talk a little bit about like Vivi. I have a question for you because
Sure.
I'm very, very interested.
Mhm.
Because you said you were into costuming and everything like that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite costume you've made and why?
You mean for the like just in general?
In general, of all your costumes.
That's a lot.
That's okay. I want to hear though.
Okay, understand. I've been doing this for a long time, so to choose a favorite, that's like understand. Just alone, like I should have asked me before. I would have thought about it more thoroughly. Oh man, favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I've made some pretty interesting builds. I can talk about like just really crazy builds because even
Okay,
though
go
like,
no, go for it, please,
yeah,
go. What was the most labor-intensive one? How about that?
besides like you guys know Star Versus, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I did for my partner who also does a voice on the show. She's
Yes.
actually Chrysalid. That's why earlier I
Yes.
was like, I'm not
Heather Kip,
biased,
who is
but
Chrysalid. Yes.
but so I made tons of stuff for her. But I mean, Golden Star or like the butterfly version of Star was really labor intensive just because there was a lot of I did all the lighting on it so it like
Mhm.
would sync up with the whole outfit and just like the whole eyepieces, the hair is really crazy. I recently made her another outfit for Miraculous or from Miraculous. I don't know if you guys know, but like Gimme from well, spoilers. It's kind of a miraculous spoiler. But there's this like omnipotent being that's called Gimme, just pink, giant wings, giant antenna, full face covered. And I hadn't done a full face covered like character before. So that was just like a very like interesting experience. Also multiple arms, which I had done for like previous star the Golden Star and for Liberty Star, but it was a different like so those are pretty labor intensive. But I think they turned out really great. I think also like when you have like a reference and you're trying to match that reference in real life is really hard, especially when it's like a CG character that shouldn't really exist. You're like, how do you make this real? And so that's what I kind of like about like 2D animation too. It's like you can make all these crazy things real without having to like necessarily 100% worry about the like validity of it, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. So yeah, I mean, truthfully, I just enjoy like making cosplay. There's another, I mean, I always work on different cosplays for her and me. And but yeah, those two are obviously like stand out just because they're like crazy. But in regards to like favorite, like actually, I don't know. I would say, oh, my favorites are the ones where I could just throw on a t-shirt and not have to like
So
wear.
more like the amphibia ones, you guys.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. It's like making a schoolgirl skirt, easy peasy. Like same or like also like with our Owl House cosplays, just super easy to make. But hopefully one day, once these designs are finalized and the pilot, you guys fund the pilot and we get the cosplays.
That would be a dream to see Starstruck cosplay at cons. I think specifically Ziki has like the potential to be like a big cosplay.
Oh
Like,
gosh, yeah. I already like as a person who has made builds before, I already am just like, oh, that hair. It'll be awesome, but like,
yes.
oh, that hair.
Well, it's funny. Going back to Long Gone Gulch, I was thinking about somebody. I think it's still out there, and I'll link it if I can. But somebody made the exact hair pieces for Rawhide and Snag, like the exact wigs you would need. And I'm like, but why? But I mean, in the coolest way, but why? Like, I'm like, that is such dedication to this awesome thing, but I just can't imagine how many hours that took to get that, like, those builds perfectly.
Yeah, I can imagine. And like for a show like Starstruck too, like I can imagine it would take a long time to do a Ziki costume. Like the outfit itself is just a like suit. So if you have a nice suit, you're set. But like the actual like I guess we'll call them the accessories, right?
Yeah.
Those would be like the ones that are kind of like, oh, well, maybe this is gonna be harder. And that's also a thing, accessories. Just working on those. Anything that lights up or like, and with space stuff, that's a lot of things.
Yeah, totally. No, totally. And Ziki has an alternate outfit that's more just like crop top and like the plaid skirt and everything. More so just like Riot Girl punk look. But yeah, I don't know, there was something so cool about like, and once again, this came from seeing like Chrissy Hind of the Pretenders. Like, she has stuff where she's in that like kind of typical punk outfit kind of thing, but then she'll do like the suit and it looks even more punk and more cool. Like, I don't know why, but it does, and it's awesome. So yeah, I don't know. There's something about all of Zicky's designs that are really fun. Ahmad had a really fun early take on her, where we lost it. I'll have to bring it back somehow. She had this really cool headpiece on, and it just looked really awesome. Ahmad, first of all, is Ahmad back?
I'm back now.
Yes. Ahmad, remember that headpiece you gave Zicky early on?
Honestly, I don't. Sorry, but
Oh shoot.
maybe I could find
Okay.
it.
You're
I'll
talking
find a
about the
picture.
mask-looking thing, right?
Yeah, it was like a mask almost.
Like, I don't want to. I don't
Oh,
want to be,
yeah, I
like,
remember now. It was like her eyebrows. Yeah, it was like Klingon
Yeah,
eyebrows.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking
exactly.
of Klingons,
Yes.
Yeah, when I came up with it.
Yes. It was really cool. That was awesome. But she's gone through so many things, and I think she looks cool in every kind of like form. So it was really awesome. Yeah, I just want to throw it to G. G. Outside of Starstruck, like, was there a particular board or project you worked on that you just really loved? Like, what's something that was like really kind of near and dear to your heart as an artist?
Oh dang it. There's the one that I actually really put my heart on recently, but they're not released, so I can't really talk about it.
Oh no.
But I can talk around it. Wait, give me a second.
Okay.
Mm.
Format your words.
Yeah.
I said format your words very carefully.
Yeah. Let me. So no context, but sometimes I do get some crazy stuff going on when they give me a job, and yes, actions and crazy fights are fun, but I love it. I love when comedy is mixed with energy.
Mhm.
So, the fun I guess I have when I do my job is like when you're allowed to do the craziest stuff just to make things happen. Like, how do I word around it? So, um, there's a scene where, let's say, somebody is madly in love with somebody. They had a mega crush with somebody, but they they couldn't get it. Meanwhile, their best friend got them first, right?
Mhm.
And to make it more dramatic, yes, I know this is just a simple like love scene where this one is just sitting on this chair crying. I put like crazy flashing, like, how do I say, the impact frames?
Yeah.
So when they like, oh yeah, we're together now, while the other one's crying, and then we have like flower falling from the sky, and we have impact frame going on when they're grabbing their hands and grabbing each other, and the lasers are shooting from the background. So I love it when I can go as crazy I want.
Sure. Even with smaller scenes like that.
Even, well, small, as long as the plot calls for it, is how I like to
Sure.
call it. It was pretty big because they're getting. How do I say this without using profanity? Give me a second. Let me Google this real quick.
It's okay. No worries.
I love that.
My English is falling short. When this person is getting their crush being unfaithful with them, they're
Sure.
sitting
Yeah.
on that
I hear what you're saying.
unfaithful
Yes.
chair. I think everyone knows this term secretly. So
Yes.
so when it's a miserable moment for one, we have a flower like a flowing in front, K-drama with some laser background and disco going on. So and because they allowed me to do that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make this as silly as possible in the history, and people loved it. I love it when things like that is allowed. So I can
Yeah,
go
totally.
silly.
I feel like taking the emotion of a scene and kind of blowing it up, you know what I mean, is really fun. Like and making the emotion kind of what you're watching more so than what's physically there is really
Yeah,
fun.
right.
Ahmad and I have a favorite part. I think it's one of Ahmad's favorite parts. I don't want to speak for you, Ahmad.
Alright, sure,
But the favorite part of The Simpsons where Bart has a crush on the babysitter.
Yeah, no, that one's great.
And
she tears.
yeah.
And she just tears out his heart, and it's like so dramatic.
Well, just the shading on the scene is like, what is happening? Like there is no other scene outside of maybe like the Homer trip scene, the chili pepper scene that has that kind of crazy shading on it. Like it is so like serious and like so dramatic. And then she tears his heart out and just like slides against the wall and like into the garbage can. It's so perfect, and I feel like and I'll maybe talk a little bit about Failing Upward, but like, I do another show. I'm sure if you're on here, you're very familiar with Failing Upward, or somewhat familiar with Failing Upward, but like the kind of fantasy scenes we do where we take something really mundane, like being scared of like the emergency broadcast like stuff, or kind of like walking in on a weird moment with a roommate and kind of cranking it up to 11 and like making it this ridiculous spectacle. Like I love stuff like that, and I think Starstruck has the core thesis of Starstruck is that this is a very normal job for someone to have, but it is cranking it up to like 11 and like going crazy with it and taking all of these small things that would be like, standard in another job, like getting coffee and having it be like a space battle is like funny to me, or just cool in general. There are some other plots. Once I can't go into it too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But like, if we do end up doing more than just this animatic, like I have so many fun plots. Like I remember I showed my my episode ideas to someone, and one of the things they told me was like, this is almost too trippy. Like, it's a really cool episode, like, and I would love it, but I feel like if you tried to pitch this to a network as like one of your like kind of like regular episodes, they would be like, what? Like, and I don't know, there's something so fun about kind of melding sci-fi and rock. I feel like they've both had like a long kind of history together. I mean, like, even going back further than just Bowie. Obviously, Bowie is like a huge part of that. Starman and everything like that. And I think, I think a lot of that is embedded in that glam rock vibe. But like, apparently, there was like a space rock opera in like the like the 50s. I didn't know this, but there's something like that, and I had to look into it. But I thought that was awesome. Funky Space Alien says, I can't wait for the episode where Harper and Court fill out their W4s.
Oh my
Yeah. I can't wait for that. Well, they're working freelance, so they get paid. What's the thing you I did it.
Have those.
What are the
W9.
I forgot what the name of those
I9?
are. I-9, thank you.
Yeah.
1099.
They have to fill out their I-9s. They do not have insurance. That is very important to remember. They do not have insurance here. So
Oh my god.
No space insurance.
no space insurance. Listen,
they
Azrael Phaser may be
getting
very, very rich, but he's not that rich, okay? Can't be filling out space insurance.
If you get
Yeah.
advice, that's on your own time.
That's an off the clock thing, okay?
Yeah. We don't cover that.
Yeah. I just think I think that's just like a very fun thing to do, kind of going back to what G said, of just like mixing the insane with the mundane, basically, of just like, this is so silly and over the top, but it's like it's so real too. It's just like you have there's a grounding despite all the craziness. So it's been really fun to kind of like to explore that here. We're going to go for a little longer, not too much longer, but first of all, thank you for everyone that's come out and hung out with us. This has been amazing. Go for about like 10 more minutes and then we'll pack it in. But yeah, I want to just talk a little bit about the cast we have. So if you're not familiar, we have a wonderful cast. The entire thing is already recorded. We're going to do a couple tiny re-records, but other than that, it's pretty much set to go. Our lead, Harper, is played by Jenny Yokobori. So if you know stuff like Hello Kitty, she plays Kuromi on that. She plays she's on Genshin Impact. She is on The Simpsons as well, so that's timely that we just brought that up. She plays Comic Book Guy's wife on that, which is really cool. She is fantastic in that kind of spotlight episode where her and Comic Book Guy want to have a kid. I still think that's like one of the best episodes of like modern Simpsons. I love it. So she is in that. Our court is played by Shannon Barry, who's been in some comedy sketches for Funny or Die, as well as Chris and Jack. She's also been in short films like Spellbook and See Through that our producer Dom Farah has made. She's fantastic in those. Spellbook is really cool. So if you guys haven't watched Spellbook, go watch Spellbook. Search Dom Farah Spellbook on YouTube. It is a really cool short. If you like magic stuff, it is right up your alley. Azriel is played by Joey Richter. He is most known for Star Kid. If you guys are fans of musicals, I'm sure you know Joey Richter. He's amazing. He's also had several voiceover roles. I didn't find this out until recently. I think we recorded him before this came out. But he was the voice of Minato in Ride Your Wave, the English dub of it, which is really cool. That's like one of my favorite. That was like one of my favorite movies that came out a couple years ago. It's such a cute, fun, like fantasy rom-com. It's like if you guys have seen the movie Ghost, it's kind of like that but with water. I'm not gonna explain anything more. But no, he's so good in that. And then that director is just awesome. So big fan of his too. Joey's also been on Korra. I didn't realize that till late. Once again, these are things that I found out going through Joey's IMDb. But I just knew him from Star Kid, so I didn't know he had all these amazing voiceover credits. So he's awesome, and kind of the energy he brings to Azrael is great. It's like perfect. I remember kind of going back into some some chats me and Ahmad had, and Ahmad said like Joey's voice is like perfect because it's both like he gets like the snooty rock star across, but he's also really approachable. Yeah. So like that was like a good balance to strike, and I'm like, yeah, no, he does that perfectly. Lauren Lopez plays Ziki Snaps, our punk antagonist. Lauren is also from Star Kid and is coincidentally or ironically married to Joey in real life. So there's a fun kind of idea of like making them kind of ridiculous exes in this, but it is really fun. Like I love the fact that we kind of got to play against that. It's really cool. No, I think both of them brought a really good energy. Lauren was also in a really big indie pilot that hit called The Art of Murder, and I watched it. It was really cool, beautifully animated, like gorgeously animated, and she's fantastic in it too. So yeah, she's great. Jamie Costa plays Pinch, Azrael's manager, and I guess, for lack of a better term, Harper's boss in some ways. He's kind of, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Pinch yet, so I'll maybe talk a little bit about him. Pinch is this four-armed, kind of like gecko-y type alien who's always got a phone in one hand and a drink in the other and a contract in another. He's got four hands. So he's Azrael's manager who's very loyal to Azrael, but he's always also looking to make a buck. So he's really fun. He's constantly promising Harper things and doesn't quite deliver on them, like a lot of bosses I'm sure we've all had at some point. No, Jamie is awesome too. Jamie has done a lot of really cool fan films. He did a lot of really cool Star Wars fan films. Most notably, Jamie did an impression of Robin Williams that completely destroyed the internet for a day, which was so cool. He put out a screen test, basically, or kind of like a test, almost like a biopic of him impersonating Robin Williams, and it is so perfect, like that you would think you were watching a young Robin Williams, and it's awesome. So Jamie was like a no-brainer for this role. He could just kind of adapt to anything and totally brought Pinch to life and is perfect. Heather Kipp is playing Chrysalid, and her energy is incredible. I love what Heather wants to do with Chrysalid and all the ideas she has. So much to the point where I'm actually going to put her in the pilot a little bit more than she is. So really excited to do it. We've talked about a couple of ideas we've had for her, and her just enthusiasm's been off the charts, and I've loved it. And then obviously Heather does cosplay as well, as Vivi mentioned. Red Velvet cosplay is her handle on everything. And I had seen, but it's funny, and I'm going to get off track for a second, but I had seen you guys well before I knew you. So I thought that was really cool. I remember seeing the Muberty Star cosplay you guys did, where you kind of you were covered in all the is it like rose petals kind of? Or is it whatever Star is cocooning Marco in?
Yeah, they're supposed to be like heart petal kind of looking, but it looks like rose petals. It's supposed to kind of be like almost like sakura blossoms, but not, but they're like heart shaped, yeah.
Yes. Which is, once again, without giving too much away, I think this first seeing you guys doing the Muberty Star cosplay, I was like, that's kind of funny considering where we're going to take Chrysalid. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I hope that doesn't give away too much, but there's a reason her name is Chrysalid. So, like,
don't make me make some crazy building.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see.
Oh no.
You'll see. Yeah. So, and then finally, the last member of cast who has a voice, but we're not going to say who it is because it's a surprise. Zero, Azriel's cat, who is in one of the pictures here, I believe. Yeah, he's right on top of Court's hat there, right where he needs to be. Zero's name. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a reference to Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm like, no, it's a reference to Gerard Way's solo album. But sure. Yeah, I also love Nightmare Before Christmas, so that's fine. But yeah, so Zero is a cat that is a little misbehaved and will bite at will. Does not have a problem with biting people. So yeah, look out for Zero in the pilot. And yeah, that kind of wraps up the cast. I also want to spotlight really quick. You may have been hearing some music, a song in all of the stuff we've been putting out. That is a song called Starlight by my friend Matthew Pop, who also did the theme song for Failing Upward. He wrote a kind of an ending theme for us, kind of bringing it back to Amphibia. I really loved the closing theme to Amphibia, and I'm like, do that, but more like rock, more like alt rock. Like, it's so chill and like spacey and vibey. And I actually found a version of that Amphibia theme with lyrics, and I sent him that one. I was like, kind of like that, but more rocky. And then, but like also kind of like this and like this and this and this band and everything, and that kind of stuck. So yeah, that song will probably be in the pilot as well. Other than that, I think we're gonna start winding down soon. If anybody has any questions, feel free to get them in. We're gonna go for about like 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna wrap it up. If you guys like what you heard here, please donate to our campaign. We have about 5 days left, and we want to get as many people donating as possible. Send them as a list of examples, and the word is this. Wait, it's all just
like,
the word
you
this.
send him like examples of like, this is the music I want. Just be like, here's the stuff.
Oh yeah, this exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm like the same way. Yeah.
No, I no, like that's for me. Like, if there's something specifically that I want, I'm just like, no, like this.
Yeah, no.
Like, no, yeah, exactly. Ahmad and I were laughing yesterday about there was an old show called Eek the Cat, and they did a closing theme that's just Alice in Chains, Man in a Box, and we're just like, whoa.
Somebody probably said like, just do that. I like that song. Just like rip that off.
That was very common back then, though. We've gone over multiple times how Captain Planet is just Step by Step by New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, or the X-Men theme is just Whitney Houston.
Yes, exactly. Or that one weird like Hungarian show that somebody said like they plagiarized from. Did you hear about that?
No.
I'll have to link that later, but like that blew my mind. I was like, yeah, I guess, but like, what are the chances that Ron Wasserman heard that? Like that must, I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, I think if there's no more questions, I think we're gonna wrap. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out. I truly appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. So yeah, does anybody have anything else to say before we kind of pack it in?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. I think I'm good too. I think we went over pretty much everything about Starstruck.
Yeah.
How about Vivi? You got anything left to say? Any parting words?
Oh, just thank you for having me on here, and thank you for everybody listening and donating, and it means a lot.
Cool. G, do you have any parting words?
I I'm not sure if anyone came because I also put the link on my Instagram.
We got a couple of people coming in and out. We had a couple of people coming in and out.
Oh,
So
Coolio.
yeah.
If there's some, thank you for checking us out, and please back us up because
Yes.
I'll put my best in this thing.
Yes.
As always,
I mean,
I'll
look at
put my
this. This
best.
looks great already. So.
Yes, this looks awesome.
Yes.
Like both
I
That's
love that
it.
Court. I love how Court is at the front there. Like it's perfect. This is all the chaos going on behind Court, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I love her design a lot.
Yeah,
That was
it's
great.
so good.
Ezreal looks great. I love the little like kissy hand thing.
That's how I see it.
It's giving like leading man in like a K drama or something.
Like, can we please plead to have a Ziki just breaking something very Ezreal looking with her baseball bat or something?
Yes, I feel like as Ziki would totally have a baseball bat. Like
Hell
that is
yeah.
just something she has.
So like that scene in Emperor's New Groove where Yzma has like all the busts of Cusco and she just keeps smacking them with the hammer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that would be perfect for her. I feel like she would smash that with a guitar too. There was a scene I remember somebody told me, and this is the last little anecdote I'll tell before we wrap this up, but somebody told me like when I was writing this a couple years ago when I was kind of punching it up, they were like, make Ziki more evil, please. Like she's a little too likable. She's like a little too likable. And I was just like, well, I want to be like, no, just make her more evil. And I remember there is I don't want to say what happens, but she says something, and one of her friends was like, "Wait, I didn't sign on for this," and she just smashes him with a guitar. So like, I could totally see Ziki just smashing things and people for that matter. She will just knock people out if it suits her. She's that wild and that crazy.
You said they don't have health insurance?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. You feel like there'd be Ziki insurance or something.
Ziki
Like be like if she is by us, we need insurance, okay? Like we need some kind of protection.
We need a plan for that, yeah.
Well, that's why she's not with Azrael anymore, because they realized if they got rid of her, the pay rates for everybody would go down immensely.
Yep.
They'd be like, okay, now we don't need insurance. Awesome.
Liability insurance for just one person.
Azrael's getting broken heart insurance. That's the only insurance that's applicable right now. Hello, Rat Boy. We are wrapping up, unfortunately. But if you would like to watch this stream, it will be available for everyone to watch. I'm just gonna do some editing to make sure it's not like 3 minutes of me not talking or anybody talking. So I will edit it down and it will be available on the page. Once again, if you would like to donate to us, it is igg.me/@/Starstruck. We are almost at 40%. I would love to get to 40% by the end of the day. That'd be so cool. Because once we get to 40%, I believe Indiegogo starts pushing you into projects we love. I think I could be wrong, but I am pretty sure it's around that point. We still have 5 days. You guys have time to get us funded. We are doing flexible funding, but do not let that stop you from pushing more and more, because the more you donate, the more we will be able to do, and the better we'll be able to make it. There are some great perks. We have keychains, stickers, behind-the-scenes looks, digital posters. If you want to be a big spender and drop $3,000, you can design your own character. So, yes, all of that is in there. We will continue to post updates. Guys, thank you so much for being here again, and we are going to end it. So, everybody, say goodbye.
See ya, and back Starstruck.
Bye-bye. See you
Everyone,
soon.
thank you for your support.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.